Fighting games have always been a more personal experience compared to when I play other games. The 1v1 battle can tell so much about yourself and your opponent. The thing is, I usually never notice this when I play other PvP games. I'll be mainly focusing on shooters and MOBAs because those are the ones I have the most experience with. I know the FGC is known as a relatively tight-knit group of people, and the act of playing these games is intimate in nature, but that's not what I'm here to discuss. These games are what created this community in the first place, using what it has in the games themselves. I want to focus on that and why these continue to motivate me to keep playing them. For fighting games, you are generally enforced into a closed-off area. 3D fighters have a bit more room, but the idea that you are forced to interact with your opponent stays the same. There's a timer, meter penalties for running away, if you're playing Guilty Gear, winning, and other factors that push you towards duking it out until someone wins. It seems obvious to people that play these games, and even to people that just know about them, but what about compared to other competitive games? What makes fighting games a more intimate experience than other games? In my humble opinion, of course. Let's start with shooters. A large part as to why these two differ in terms of creating relationships between the players is the simple fact that there will be far more people playing a match together in a shooter compared to the 1v1 experience found in fighting games. Your focus is constantly split between whoever in front of you in the moment compared to the guy standing on the other side of the screen. The ideal way to play shooters is to make it so your enemy never even notices you were there in the first place before you take them out. Battle Royales in particular place emphasis on this even more so because shooting someone else may alert others nearby, which would lead to a bad situation for you. I usually don't learn anything about who I am shooting at or what they might be trying to aim for. By aim, I mean what aspects of the game are they trying to improve at. This might be a weird thing to look for, but while playing fighting games, it's hard not to notice when a newer player is attempting to improve at things like anti-airing or hitting a combo. Just for context, I consider myself as someone who really enjoys these games and plays them quite a bit, but am by no means an expert. I see all sorts of players, differing in skill and playstyle, which makes me more keen to certain habits that they have. The point is, by just playing a couple of matches with another person, I get a good understanding of various strengths and weaknesses about their performance. With shooters, I find it difficult to gauge the skill level of people I'm playing against because they're already dead shortly after I see them first, or I'm dead because my map awareness is terrible and I never even saw them. Shooters have a different skill set to excel at, one that is not as easy to judge. Precision, map awareness, making use of terrain. Ignoring maybe the last one, the first two are skills that are hard to gauge going off of by a couple interactions during a game alone. These are competitive games that are designed around outmaneuvering your enemy in a different way that prioritizes swiftness and efficiency, making it so the person or team you play against doesn't get a chance to defend themselves. Similar to how a strong Oki or playing a solid neutral in a fighting game makes it so the other player doesn't get a chance to even play. How you get there is different, but the end goal is still the same. Moving on, let's focus on MOBAs, mainly League of Legends, where I was most competitive in before I got into fighting games. Again, not amazing at it, got to plat before I ended up never touching the game again. These are usually 5v5 team games that require getting multiple of objectives and pushing lanes until victory is attained. Comparing League to fighting games might be a bit of a stretch, but since I had the experience in both, I thought there are some points worth discussing. Unlike fighting games, you have teammates that all have the same goal as you, sometimes or never. The other distinction is the amount of time it takes to finish one game. Matches in fighting games usually last around 60 to 99 seconds, meaning in the time it takes to finish a game of League, we could get around 30 to 40 matches. A match in a fighting game feels like a bite-sized dopamine rush that's on repeat over the course of a long set, while one game of League can feel like an arduous journey by the time it's all over. For me, I get a lot more out of a long set of quick matches rather than one long game that needed to end 20 minutes ago. Rather than wanting to get right back into another game, with League I took a couple minute breaks just to wind down from the stress a long match could cause. For a fighting game, it's all about personal growth and improvement, playing smart and often to see a player getting to a good level without any outside factors inhibiting the ability to do so. I ended up getting drawn to that because after playing League for so long and dealing with the various people who play the game, it felt good to see improvement while not having other people weighing me down or giving me false hope that I was better than I actually was. This is one of the biggest factors that can draw people in or out of fighting games. The end result of a match is on you. I tend to get more emotionally involved during long sets, not to the point of raging or anything like that, but it's more of a test of whether or not I can satisfy myself with how I'm playing. That feeling was there when I played League in the beginning, but over time, the passion I have for the game dwindled which meant winning or getting better didn't matter anymore. It's a different sense of satisfaction, working together with the team to accomplish a set amount of goals to achieve. In the past, this felt worthwhile and something that drew me to team-based games in general. However, due to the toxic nature and ever-changing nature of these games, I found myself losing interest and not seeing any real sense of growth or enjoyment while playing them. Yes, I understand fighting games can also be incredibly toxic, with some of the modern games now getting patch updates more frequently, but even so, I can tolerate it better because at the end of the day, it's all on me. Whether or not I get influenced by people taunting me mid-match and having it affect my gameplay relies entirely on my mental state at the moment. Patches have a more direct effect on the game, and while not as frequent as what League gets, it can still shake up things and affect the game positively or negatively depending on the characters that get changed. I would prefer if games receive patches less because the more they do, the harder it is to stay engaged with its characters and mechanics for long periods of time. Something will get changed, and adapting to it constantly eventually wears on a player, sometimes enough to the point of dropping the game entirely. These three types of games all offer something different, but all bring out the competitive nature in a player. Just because I've lost interest in playing two of the types seriously doesn't mean I don't respect the drive their players have for getting better at them. I just happen to land on fighting games for my preferred choice of having a competitive experience. The variety of the games and the discovery aspect of them always keeps me coming back for more. Thank you for listening.